So I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of a secret about me. Whenever I get bored, sometimes I get a little distracted. And so, admittedly, there are some times when I'm watching shows that I'm bored, and so I might be looking at my phone, but I often do it whenever I'm just listening to conversations. So all I have to do is just listen and I can hear what's being said. But the problem with this show is that I'm very often bored, but I don't feel like I can look at my phone because 75% of the dialogue isn't spoken. So you see my predicament. Well, what's up, guys? Mason the Brock Anderson here, and this is Echo Season 1, Episode 2, Lowak. So yeah, this is just not really grabbing my interest so far. I think a lot of it is just down to the fact that this feels pretty slow moving in a very short season. You would think with 5 episodes, they would be hitting a lot of these story beats really fast, but they're really not. When you think about what happened in this episode, she blew up a train that was a part of Kingpin's operation and killed a bunch of guys in the process. That's about it. There are a few scenes here and there with some character stuff in it, but none of it's really that interesting. I don't know these characters well enough to really be invested in them. The only one that I kind of know is Maya. That's about it. All these characters are new. You've not really given me much interest there. Even with the opening scene in the first episode, seeing Maya as a kid, seeing her connection to Bonnie and her family, I'm not really invested in any of this. So when she's talking to, I think his name is Biscuits, when she's getting him to help on this mission, whenever he's driving alongside the train and trying to help her out, whenever she's having this confrontation with her uncle at the end, whenever Bonnie is messaging her and trying to reach out to her, I don't feel any of these interactions. Even with her grandma, I don't know what her deal is, but her seemingly knowing that Maya was in town set something off. I don't know if that means she has some connections to Kingpin. So a lot of what's going on, I just feel so disconnected from. There's also these weird flashbacks to older ancient times. This one jumped back to 1200 AD, and there's that one woman that suddenly felt a connection to their, I guess, ancient ancestors and suddenly gets powerful and wins this match. I'll be perfectly honest, that scene was not very well done. They really should have picked a more athletic actress, if I'm being honest. I'm not trying to say she looks super out of shape, but definitely her running was not very convincing. Like, all the scenes with her running in this game that they were playing looked like an ancient version of lacrosse, but all of the scenes where she's supposed to be running and she's supposed to be faster than a lot of these people, she did not look like she was running that fast. They should have picked somebody that looked more capable of running fast. And I don't even know why. There's just something really off about those scenes, and she did not look like she would be good enough at this sport to be as dominant as they appeared to be before this one big guy stepped in. But yeah, there's this weird connection to the ancients, and we see one moment with Maya in this one where her leg gets caught and she finds the strength to push the train off. It feels random. There's only been 2 scenes with these flashbacks, and there's only been 1 scene that shows Maya has that connection, and we're already 2/5 of the way through the season. It just feels like if you're gonna be having this other story with her maybe having powers connected to her heritage, maybe that should be a little bit more in the forefront and not something that you've given maybe 5% of the runtime to. I will also say the acting in this is not bad, but it's not really that good. I think everybody's just sort of going through the motions. They're doing their jobs well enough. They're in character enough. I just don't look at any of these characters and go, oh, that's a real person. They all feel like they're just acting the part. Like, it just feels like they're all sort of doing the bare minimum to me. And that's not necessarily their fault. The director could just not really be bringing the best out of them. But it all just feels sort of bland at the moment. I will also say the whole action scene on the train, it felt very underwhelming. I mean, this is the big action set piece for this episode. I'm guessing we're going to get one big action scene per episode, because in the last one we had that whole fight scene that led to the fight between Maya and Daredevil. So in this one we have this action scene where she's on the train jumping from car to car. So much about this is just very underwhelming, first of all, because all it is her jumping from car to car, hanging off the side, cutting open the bottom of the train, getting inside, planting the bomb, and then jumping off of the train onto the truck that Biscuits is driving. And that's the whole action scene. There's no fighting. Nobody even notices that she's on the train somehow. There are a couple of moments of physical impossibility. For instance, she climbs down the side of the car and then somehow gets up under the car. And we do see she manages to hook herself whenever she starts cutting, but that doesn't explain how she goes from the side of the train, hanging off the top of it, to now she is underneath it. That doesn't seem possible. I'm going to need Mythbusters to step in on this one and tell me, is it possible to be hanging off the side of a train car moving at top speed and somehow end up underneath the train car, even with this little device that she manages to hook herself to the bottom of it. It still seems very unlikely. On top of that, there's also the issue that we see her climb out from underneath. There were 2 guys posted on either side of the car. Where did she pop out from that neither of them saw her? Like, did she climb all the way from the bottom of that car to the bottom of another car far away that they weren't on top of? Or did those guys move? What happened there? How did she manage to get out from underneath without either of them seeing her? And then, of course, this leads to the moment at the end with Biscuits driving the truck. She jumps off the train, manages to nick the top of the windshield, goes over the back, and then we see him come to a stop. We don't see her at all. And then both hands pop up and grab on the back of the truck. Where was she hanging on before? How did she manage to hang on to the truck? Did she grab onto the back of the bumper? There's nowhere to grab there. She would have been dragged. Like, she would have been roughed up. So clearly they were not thinking about the logistics of a lot of this, and it shows. Yeah, unfortunately, I just have to look at this and go, it's not the worst thing. It's not worse than the Marvels. It's not worse than Miss Marvel. It's not worse than She-Hulk so far. But it's just not that interesting. If I'm being honest, I feel like they're not doing enough to get me invested, to get me to care about her story. And I also feel like there's a lot of stuff that they're not really explaining. Things are just sort of happening. She has this plan, I guess, to take on Fisk's gang, and I don't really understand what she's trying to do. It feels like she's just trying to start a war with him, and she's just killing a bunch of people in the process. Like, how does that make her a good person? I mean, I guess you could make the argument, oh, well, they're working for Fisk, so they're not good people. Well, she's supposed to be a good person, and she was working for Fisk because he raised her, basically. So I don't really understand what exactly we're supposed to be rooting for with her here. I'm truly confused as far as what they're trying to do with her story. I just feel like in this 3rd episode, there's got to be some progression as far as the main story. We finally get some answers as far as what Maya's trying to do. Why should we be rooting for her? Why is she not just another Fisk? I mean, her uncle, even at the end, says that she sounds a lot like Fisk. So why are we rooting for her in all of this? She's the main character of this show. We should be wanting to root for her. We should be wanting to see a hero save the day. And instead, it feels more like she's just trying to take over where Fisk left off. So with all that being said, though, those are my thoughts on this episode. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this one? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Echo reviews. Also, check out the channel. We have a lot of other reviews on here, so check those out if you have time. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.